Backlog.
Welcome back to 321 Backlog, the podcast where two bros are on a mission to count down their video game backlogs. My name is Alec, and I am joined by James. Good evening.
Good evening, my good friend Alec, who is joined by his friend James. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I just got a monster in me, and it's feeling good. Feeling good.
Like when people say, "I got that dog in me."
I got the dog in me.
I got that monster in me.
Yes. How you been? Doing good?
Yeah, man, I'd say I'm probably doing a little bit too good lately. Need to bring it down a notch with this fucking game.
Oh, man. So we're actually going to go and get right into it. So for this episode, we actually, you and I, you seem to have no interest in the game we were actually going to play for this week. So I went ahead and got one of my other friends and had him and I sit down and have a conversation about Rise of Industry. I'm actually going to throw this over to a conversation I had with Matthew about the game Rise of Industry, and then you and I will revisit later on. It was recorded a couple months ago, so we were still learning some stuff, so the audio might be a little weird, but yeah, we'll go ahead and throw that over, and then you and I will talk afterwards. Sound good?
Can't wait.
Perfect. How are you today, sir?
Very well. How are you?
I'm great. It's a later recording. We're getting, well, for me, you still got sunshine out, I think, at this time of night.
No, it's pretty dark out.
All right.
Mountain Standard Time. But by like 20, 30 minutes.
There you go. All right. So, yep, James is out. He heard the game we were going to be talking about today and just had no interest whatsoever. So I let him take a day off so we could talk about it. So
hopefully he's out there learning about his presidents.
Yeah, maybe. He's what have we been playing recently? We just wrapped up Metal Gear Solid.
Oh, really?
We went back a number of years. One? Yeah. Well, the one for the PS1.
Okay.
I think.
Yeah.
The first. Because I know there were in that
Solid
series.
Snake
There were there were ones like in the Nintendo space. I think we didn't play those because apparently those are terrible. But like the bulk of the story that everybody knows, the Solid Snake character that everybody is in love with starts with Metal Gear Solid. So that's what we started with. So we're just finishing that up. We just talked about Pow World recently because that's been in the zeitgeist everywhere. So
I'm excited for the next couple updates. I put it down. I feel like I did all the things I wanted and felt like doing. It just felt a little.
It needs work. Like
it was missing something.
It's not done yet.
But I saw the trailer for the next big patch that they have coming out, and it looks freaking dope. Literally every 3rd second of that trailer had my eyes go, oh.
I'll have to go check it out. Yeah, now at time of recording, we are about a month from when it initially released, so we are a bit behind. So who knows what it will be like when this finally comes out. But so is that what you've been playing Power World? I think you've stepped away from it just like we have. What are you playing right now?
Helldivers since release night.
Yeah, so what is this game? Because I have not really seen anything about it except for you and Jeremy talking about it.
Okay, so Helldivers in a nutshell, we're gonna call it Starship Troopers. Okay. So it is. Have you played Starship Troopers Extermination, the game?
I have not. I saw the amazing cinematic film.
It's
Starship Troopers.
It's solid. So it is So it is Starship Troopers full on. And so you know how Starship Troopers kind of played with that like imperial propaganda. I'm not sure the word for it. You know, the like,
Yeah.
we're waiting on you. I'm doing my part. Like that whole fucking thing. Like now on Clendathu. So Helldivers has taken that sort of trope and gone balls deep, dude.
Right.
It is fantastic. It is about democracy. We now have Super Earth, and it's not democracy, it is managed democracy, which is just straight up authoritarianism. Like citizens have a vote, but the vote doesn't matter and it doesn't change who wins. So, you know.
We're talking about a video game, or are we talking about real life?
Yeah,
so...
no, yeah, exactly. No, it's just, yeah, exactly.
It is an election year, so who knows?
Yeah. So, and the points don't matter.
Oh, man.
So it is, dude, like meets something like Deep Rock Galactic in the whole point A to point B sort of like mission objective thing. But all of that with an overstroking of community, right? Like as the bugs and the automatons, as the Terminids and the automatons like come in on different sides of the galaxy, every planet that's under siege, if you will, has a liberation percentage. So like we are as a community working towards liberating these planets.
Okay.
And it's not going awesome.
And they're like big bugs and stuff, or like alien creatures.
Yeah, they're straight up bugs. Like it is straight up the arachnids from Stormtrooper. Like it's so there's two different sides of the game. There is Starship Troopers the game, and then Terminators the game. Those are the two games that is within this game. There's two different factions, and the battles are wildly different. And Terminator is much scarier.
I think when I had seen very, very little, I think in your description of it, I've learned more than I have known so far about this game. But when I first saw like a very, very brief clip on like TikTok or something, it reminded me of like EDF, like 20 something. So like Earth Defense Force, where you fight like giant fire ants and spiders or something. That's what it was giving me vibes of. But it looks a lot cooler. So I might have to toss this on the old backlog.
And it's got one aspect I really like is, I don't know if you ever played Mercenaries 2 back in the day, one of my all-time favorite games. Like hands down. One of the best games ever made. Mercenaries 2 had a whole like throw a grenade for a care package or a bomb or a eagle strike or an orbital bombardment, etc. That is like your primary fight mechanic is that mechanic, which I really like that aspect of it. It adds a lot of like play. I played a mission the other night because it's like the game is just so popular. There's like 450,000 spots on the servers and 750,000 people trying to log in per day. Like, so they're killing it. Yeah, dude, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So there's some time and wait, and like the matchmaking quick play queue isn't really working very well right now.
Is it also PvP, or is it just you against the aliens?
It is you and 1 to 4 people against the aliens.
Okay.
But and so like it's really cool. So as you like go to a planet, and so I'm going to, I'm going to Malevelon Creek, right? And like me in there. And so as you go out to your bridge and you look out over the planet, you can see the thousands of other ships that are also on this planet fighting. And supposedly what you're seeing is in real time. So you'll see like shit like shoot from the ships down to the planet and orbital bombardments and lasers and shit. That's actually like your team on the planet. Like, and you can see, so I just in my ship above the planet, not even logged into a mission yet, can see you shoot your thing, your orbital laser or whatever. But then also when you're on the ground, you can look up and see that shit coming from your ship. It is a really, really cool aspect to the game. Yeah. It makes it really neat.
I like that. It's fun to see what they're starting to do from like a multiplayer aspect, the things that we're able to do now, because servers are better than they used to be over the last 20 years. Bandwidth speeds across the country, that standard has slowly crept up throughout the country and the world. So they're limitless potential on what we can do with some of these games. So very, very exciting. So we are going to be talking about something a little less action-packed today. But before we really get into it, what I wanted to just kind of, I asked, selfishly, I've been inviting guests on outside of to get different voices than James and myself, but also like practice hosting somebody that hasn't been on the podcast before. And I wanted
This is my first podcast.
Yeah, there you go. That so far, because this will release before our other project that will be announced later on. But the 12 people that have listened to our podcast know James and I, and they know our histories with games. But I figured we'd give you a chance to, like, what was your kind of upbringing with games and stuff? Where'd you start? What was your journey with games?
So, man. Okay, I'm pushing 40, so I have been around pretty much exactly the same amount of time as video games.
There you go.
I have had all of them my entire life. I primarily started in Atari. My father figure was a part of the Atari Corp something or another. And so the Atari Nintendo was my first real console that when I really got into gaming was the Atari Jaguar 64. And so yeah, and dude, I mean, this was so long ago. I was the second person in the world to beat Rayman. And we tracked this through an IRC channel, dude. Like all of it, like we just posted updates in an IRC channel to track this. Some kid from Japan beat it like days. And dude, I remember I skipped school, man. I skipped school to play that damn game. And some Japanese kid beat it a couple days before me. It was fun, yeah. But I mean, that was on the pre-release. Like they sent it out to 100 people before the game ever hit store shelves. Like
that was on the Atari Jaguar.
The Atari Jaguar 64, yes.
I think my dad had an Atari 2800. I don't know where that falls, and I think that's it had the little joystick and the button, right? And that was the first console I ever touched, but we had that for maybe a year before. I don't even know where it went. I think it went to a family member. So
no, that was the first one that I really when I became a gamer, finger quotes, right? Like prior to that, we had a Nintendo, but I didn't really I wasn't old enough or intelligent enough to play Mario intelligently at that point. And Duck Hunt looked like I spent half as much time shooting the dog because I was a little kid, right? My uncle had an Atari, but he only had Pong. But none of I don't really count any of that because it wasn't when I really got into it. And then from there, dude, I've had every console for my entire life.
Nice.
Still today have most of them, replaced all the ones that I lost, broke, or sold through growing up. Like my 19-year-old son's a pretty big nerd, so I have applied him with all of them.
So he's getting a chance to see where stuff came from.
Yeah, dude, and he loves it. And it's his. I've just accepted my imminent demise. Literally everything is my 19-year-old son's. He comes and asks me. He's like, "Can I play?" Dude, it's all yours. I'm gonna die one day, and it's all yours. I don't care.
There you go.
Play with whatever the hell you want. But yeah, dude. No, so I've just always been a gamer, primarily PC for the last 15 years.
Did you have 17 years? Did you have a genre or a style of game that you gravitated towards the most? Because Jake, I think, did racing games for a while in his youth.
I would say that the most hours that I have would be in first-person shooters. I'm a Counter-Strike player. I've played Counter-Strike.
Right.
I've been playing Counter-Strike since 2001. So
early days.
Yeah, since it literally released. Yeah, I played Counter-Strike my entire life. It's
gotcha. I think
that's my game.
I had a tech class in high school, and there were 3 games that were loaded. I'm pretty sure from students on all the games. We had Counter-Strike. Now this would have been in the early 2000s. I not to make you feel old, but I graduated in 2007. So I
little older.
So we, between 2003 and 2007, that range. So we had Counter-Strike put on those computers. We had the original StarCraft put on there, and a couple little other games peppered throughout. And whenever we finished,
or something,
whenever we finished the lesson and the teacher was in a good mood, you know who you are. Because I still know his daughter. We would get to play like a LAN party kind of thing, and like the whole class could play StarCraft or Counter-Strike or something.
That's fun.
It was actually very, very fun. So but
so that's my thing. But I think so. I jokingly say I'm ADD AF, right? So while like Counter-Strike has always been my fallback, I play a lot of games. Like I like that's my preferred genre, and I think so. And so just as a shout out to Counter-Strike, like old school because it's garbage today. I'm not attracted to games like Call of Duty when I say first person shooters because I don't like games that you can just play the shit out of and gain an advantage, right? Like in Call of Duty, like you don't like. You can just, like whatever heartbeat sensor, whatever you get for playing 10,000 hours and hitting level 800 or whatever the hell happens.
Right.
I don't like that. In Counter-Strike, you and I are on the same exact basis at the start of every single round forever. If I win, it's because I was better. Plain and simple. There's no excuses. It's not like, oh, well, his loadout or blah, ADS. No, dude, no. It's equal footing and I won one-on-one. Like that's the appeal of that to me, right?
Wasn't for recent games, wasn't the Siege game? Was it Rainbow
Six
Six?
Siege?
Didn't they? It was quicker matches, but everybody kind of had the same shit when you loaded in. Maybe slight variations.
I mean, they're not like there's a ton of different operators.
Okay.
I would say that generally it's the same exact experience. Like there's like if you watch any high level play of Rainbow Six, it's just the same 6 to 10 people every single time. But there's a lot of choices. And the thing that's another one of those play to win games because you have to pay to unlock your operators. So like the person with 10,000 hours has the coolest operators unlocked and like
right.
And like that's I don't like that's just the cat thing. Like that's the appeal of Counter-Strike.
Yeah, so that's you and I talked offline when we were trying to figure out what game we would play when I invited you onto the show, and we talked about shooter games, and you were very competitive with those, and that is so far opposite of me in video games. Like I'm not good enough to enjoy competitive play. It stresses me out very much. And it's funny because my co-host really likes some of the competitive stuff that we play, less on the shooters, but like when we played World of Warcraft, we would do a lot of arenas. So it was like 2-on-2s, or we play a lot of MOBAs. Not a lot. We played Heroes of the Storm because we both like Blizzard.
Oh, Heroes, okay. I played Dota and LOL.
But we liked he really liked that competitive part of it, and I just liked playing. So I would just hop on, and I'll make fun of him on this stuff. He's like, oh, this ability or this thing gives you a 5% increase if this happens. He's like spouting all the numbers and stuff. I'm like, that looks cooler though.
Yeah, so he's a min-maxer.
I'm going to use that, right? So, and
see, and I don't like games where I have to min-max like that, like games like WoW or like MOBAs where I have to min-max. Like, I don't enjoy that.
Yeah.
I do like you said, he's a racing fan.
That was Jake that really, the other.
Oh, Jake, gotcha. Yeah, like that really breeds to my competitive nature, but not like my perfectionist nature. Because the best part about racing games, like I play a lot of Trackmania. Like Trackmania is one of my all-time favorite games. And it's just because you can grind to achieve perfection and you shave just tenths of a second off at a time. And it's just so gratifying to just make such a tiny achievement.
I feel like racing games right now are making my perception, I could be completely wrong. My perception is like they're at a tipping point to where using a controller for a racing game is going to be phased out shortly. I feel like they are trying to make them to where you get your equipment for like the sim, going more into like STEM or excuse me, simulator type things.
Yeah.
So I feel like
they are like, I would say they're already there.
They are there, but I think they're going to start phasing out like Gran Turismo for PlayStation 6. I don't think it's going to be a thing, right? I mean, maybe, but I think they're really going to start catering into those simulation rigs, kind of like how we're seeing a lot more VR.
An Xbox branded steering wheel and pedals, right?
Could be.
Because I wholeheartedly agree though. Like I have a HOTAS, like I played a lot of Elite Dangerous. It's the only way to play. If you're going to play like a flight simulator, you should be playing with a $400 or Warthog, or else you're not having a good time.
Right. I feel like we should probably at some point
talk about the game.
Get into the game that we actually played for this. So
Tropico, right?
Yes. So, this will be real fun because at least I played this game. It's been a couple of months now. Scheduling is so difficult sometimes, and it's funny because you and I both really like tabletop RPGs, D&D type things, and that's like such a sore point is like scheduling. So
I know we hang out once a week, but that's a lot. Like it's getting a couple adults to hang out more than once a week is a big frickin' ask.
It really is. So especially when you start introducing kids and all that. But so we played. Normally I would say we played this week, but we played Rise of Industry. Rise of Industry is a strategy/business tycoon game developed by Spanish indie team Dapper Penguin Studios and published by Casado Games. The game sees players build and manage their industrial empires as they attempt to grow and expand in the early 20th century. Which was really, really it was a big change from what James and I typically play, like God of War, Far Cry 3, Sea of Stars, a lot of like RPG story-driven games. But we went more of like a tycoon strategy type game. So very different for what we typically cover on the show. So I thought it was interesting, or just an interesting one to talk about. So
I would say it definitely holds a place in the genre, and it is definitely an interesting topic within the genre.
So this came out in 2019 by Casado Games. It was developed by Dapper Penguin, mostly for PC.
Love the name.
Very, very good. And we don't typically go over scores, or we're very inconsistent about it, but on the Epic Store, which is where I have it, it got a 4.2 out of 5. Pretty high score. But on Metacritic, which is cycling, I think everybody gave it a 62 out of 100, and I think that is more appropriate to my play experience.
Yeah. How does Steam rate it?
That I didn't actually look.
Mostly positive. Okay.
Mostly positive.
I totally forgot how Steam criticized games for a second there.
I think they give numbers every now and then, but yeah. So let's see here. So this one I think is going to be mainly about its game mechanics in our discussion. So typically James and I will go through and like say how we liked the graphic, the sound design, any voice acting if applicable, the story if applicable. Not really getting much of a conversation there. I liked the art style. It wasn't like super detailed, but detailed enough, and it all felt very parody, like not super serious, but still detailed enough to have some quality to it. Am I making any sense there?
Yeah, I mean, I would explain it differently, but I can see what you're saying, yes.
Hit me, what you got?
Okay, so my feel for this is I agree it's very simple, but I don't think it's simple in a parody feel. I think it is simple in that this game... So most tycoon or city builders are pretty thematic, right? Like they all rely heavily on something. This does none of that. It is giving you solely the management aspect of it, and in as detailed and in-depth way as possible. So I don't think that it's a parody so much that it is super simplified artistically to delve deeper into that side of it. Like there's no distraction from the management aspect, where something like Tropico gives you funny accents and dancing girls and things
I think why I thought parody initially was when you first start the game, it's got one of those like 1940, 1950 like ad men type of voices, like almost like a Quagmire, and he just got like a tone. Excuse me. He's got like a tone of like, this is not a serious game, you know. We're just gonna
I can see that,
you know. So it didn't feel like jokey,
fun and light,
but very very fun and light.
Into
yeah.
But that didn't carry on, right? Like there was
that is correct. Yeah, it did.
Like there's no social turmoil. There's no comedy. Like after that cutscene, it is just monotony, so it's funny. Like I realized with this game, because I love city building games, but apparently that theme does matter in tycoon and city building games, because I just truly didn't enjoy this game. Like I liked all the aspects of it, but it was missing something. And I think it's the quirkiness of Tropico, or the unique. I mean, SimCity is just pretty unique, I guess. Like I think that's just nostalgic. I don't know that it's any better.
I think they got in there pretty quick of something that was really polished and accessible to everybody. So
niche, like things like Frostpunk, right? Like this didn't give anything fun or cool except for where your train goes.
They thought, you know what if we really lean into the need for pen and paper so we can do math? I looked up. We're gonna jump right into gameplay. Sound quality was fine. I really think the theme was the big negative part of this, but my God, I restarted so many times because I went bankrupt over and over and over again. I think I maybe put about 25 to 30 hours into this thing. I really gave it a go, right?
Yeah,
and it may have actually been more than that. I looked up something because I was confused at the flow of how to do something. And I was looking for like general tips and stuff. And this guide literally went through, okay, you basically need to do math and like make sure you're writing down like what your going rate for this good is. And then you can take that times this by 10, then divide it by how many things you have. I was like, I got confused just trying to read this guide. Like it was, my goodness. Like I'm okay at math, but I was not planning.
That bad though. Because there's other games that force you into that. Like Satisfactory is amazing.
Yeah.
And I've done more min-maxing on freaking input and output and production rates in Satisfactory than I can shake a damn stick at. Like
it must be because
program is amazing. And I freaking learned literal rocket science to be good at that game. Like but you don't get the satisfaction of traveling to Jewel, or the satisfaction of seeing this beautiful world that you've corrupted. You just do it because it's the only thing to do.
Yeah, I feel like it's because it's dealing with money. Like I think that's the thing, which for most people, the theme of like dealing with finances is awful, right? So like it's fun in like a Monopoly sense, which is borderline fun. And so your payout is like, oh, I have a green number instead of a red one because I'm going bankrupt. Like that's kind of it. The animations were fun to watch when you like zoom in and see stuff, but theming, because I didn't think about it till you said it, theming is so important with these games. I recently have been playing Fabledom. Have you seen this? It's an early access one. It's very fun. It's very fantasy driven. So you have elves and well, actually, hold on. I may be getting too mixed up because there's another one that I'm wanting to play. But this one
This is fun. It's
not
like
elves,
a
but
castle management.
Yeah, it's like a little city worker management game. But it has a fantasy spin on it, like an old timey. We're in a little hamlet with commoners walking around and stuff. And they have some fantasy bits in there, but very cute style, very fun.
Yeah, I like that. See, and you want to know what's funny? I bet if they took fucking Rise of Industry, sorry if my language is terrible.
No, this is perfect.
If they took Rise of Industry and skinned it like this, I probably would have enjoyed it more.
Yep. Instead of having money, do gold. You know, like that really can make a difference. But
and just little cute guys. Look at this dude and this stupid little head thing. Like, this is stupid. It's cute. I'm going to zoom in and I'm going to laugh at him, and then I'm going to enjoy it.
The one that I'm really curious about, and I can't remember if I've talked to you about this game, that I have over 200. I think I have more hours on this next game I'm going to mention than I do on Baldur's Gate, which is over 200. Timberborn.
We talked about this. I have 0 hours in this game. It does look good.
It is so good, and they keep playing around with it. It definitely, for me, I think I got my fill of it, and I want them to get maybe some more updates into it and see if they can add a little bit more. They've been adding some stuff in the recent months. I might dive back in, but it's definitely one of those where I play it, and then I get my fill, and then I step away for a bit, and I'm starting to get curious about hopping back in. But that one is super, super fun.
Pretty high on my my backlog, if you will.
There you go. That's what we're here to do.
It will. Next time it goes on sale.
All right.
Like I will. I'll pick it up. I really like the water mechanic, like the water physics mechanic.
Yeah.
That looks fantastic, and I am excited to play with that in this game.
So instead of like another one my wife played was called Settlement Survival, and she really liked that one. But your environmental hazard in Timberborn is a drought. So you're playing beavers, so you need to dam the water flow and make reservoirs and do all this so you can last longer. And that's been the biggest things. Then your droughts get longer and longer and longer, and it gets more and more difficult. So
it's got that Frostpunk vibe to it.
So in their most recent update, they added like corrupted water or like poisoned water. So you've got to deal with droughts, but then you also have to deal with like chemicals or something leaching into your water supply and doing stuff there. So they're adding like different variations of this scarce resource and how they mess with it. So very, very fun there.
Yeah. It's slightly on topic, but not. Have you played Oxygen Not Included?
No.
Highly recommend. It plays heavily on that particular mechanic that you just mentioned. It's probably one of my favorite like city builder games, actually. Like now that I really like consider that one amongst all the others we've spoke of, I would say that Oxygen Not Included is probably one of my very most favorite like management sim style games.
Oh, interesting. Okay. It has like this has such a mobile game feel because I've seen a lot of mobile games that have the same like map layout.
It is like you're thinking like Fallout 76, things like that. It's not.
Okay.
It is like, I mean, I can see how it would look that way, but no, like it's not. Like it is more similar to Terraria, maybe.
Yeah,
but
I'll take that back. I think I understand why I thought that. It's like with all these, we've been seeing like a top-down view or at best an isometric view. This is, I'm going to look at it from the front. So the aspect is different.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Blocks and cubes and chambers, just because you have to you have to manage your air, like oxygen, pollution, water, hot water, like contaminated water, urine, like excrement, etc. Like you have to manage all of that stuff. And so compartmentalization becomes important because when shit literally hits the fan, like you don't want to just fuck everything, so you can compartmentalize and then you only fuck a little bit.
There you go.
Yeah. This is an amazing game, dude. I highly recommend you throw it on your wish list because I think you'll like this.
Yeah, that'll definitely go on there.
And it's again heavy and min-maxing, like the same like a lot of those other games we did. But as you can see, it does it in such a cute, fun little way. And your duplicates, like they're very fun and quirky. Like it's got a really good atmosphere to the game that makes the heavy management really tolerable. Because literally, like you have to build like radiators and furnaces and stuff to manage this game, like from scratch, like out of pipes, like literally just running, like finding a cold part of the map and running pipes up and down and up and down and the cold part of the map to bring cold water back to your base because everyone is sweating to death because of all the factory equipment. Like it gets heavy into like physics management, all the different gases, like it has multiple different chemicals and gases that you have to manage, like gas and liquid management. Like it's awesome.
To bring that complexity back to Rise of Industry, I definitely feel like ROI was compared to some of these other games that we've been talking about, it was so complex. Comparing it to like a crafting game where it's like, oh, you need this material to make this thing, then that can be used to make this thing. Those like crafting trees or production trees were so extensive.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you looked at like all the different, you had to like research them. So if you looked at all those points, it was wow.
It was a huge map. Wow. Yeah. Like it was too many. Yeah.
It was so
like
many.
An overwhelming amount.
Yeah.
Yeah. I went down probably 10 or 15% of those trees.
Yeah. I ended up doing, they had like your story mode or like your regular play kind of thing where you pick a map or you pick parameters of a map, like how big do you want it, what your like resource scarcity is and all this, so you can kind of like play with how difficult or how involved your game and your map is going to be. So I did that, and that was went bankrupt over and over again. But I was getting to a point where I wanted to see some of the stuff that I couldn't get to yet. So they have a free play option where you can basically just have free reign of everything, and that was kind of interesting. So there's a lot of stuff down those talent trees or research trees that get very, 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 very complex.
It goes like you gotta like PR and advertise and stuff, like run like what is the word I'm looking for? Aggressive ad campaigns in other towns and stuff. Like that's awesome. I like that it goes that detailed.
Because the main driving force is you are a company that is trying to be profitable. That's the whole goal of the game, is to be profitable. So
funny that accidentally our off-screen conversation was all about this.
We're circling right back to money and dead grandmas. So so that's your whole goal, is just to keep your finances in a positive state
in an ever-changing capitalistic society with many competitors.
And what I started to notice once you actually stay in the map without going bankrupt for a while is there are NPC companies that also start sprouting up and get contracts for other like cities and towns on the map. The better you do, your starting town that's maybe like 5 or 6 buildings start to grow. So then you start having traffic, and there's a little bit of like that aspect to it. Land starts getting claimed for new development. So like as your city grows and you're like, oh, I need to put like a farm or something, it's now going to be really far out. So then it costs more money for your trucks to get your goods in. And it really breaks it down from like an economy standpoint of like, oh, if I want to if I have a farm that's growing wheat and exporting the wheat, if I want to like make it easier for me to get all of that product into a central warehouse, I have to pay the trucks to make it go that distance. Or do I want to pay directly, and I think slightly less, to have it shipped directly to the market, like the farmer's market, to then be sold for a profit and usually get it there quicker, so I get my money, my return on investment back quicker. or more quickly.
Yeah.
So
but less. Yeah.
That's the kind of stuff you're playing with, and
it really considers a lot of logistics of production and distribution that you never think of, like using like 3 different warehouses to get to point A to point B is reality if you're trying to make the maximum profit in every position. Like,
I think I messaged this to you, and because I got into it, I think a couple days before you did, and I think I said something like, "Hey, when you get in there, don't let all your buildings do things automatically right away."
Yeah,
because the AI tries to make it better for you, and it ends up causing a total shit show, which was just crazy. So I after I went back and played. After like the 25th hour or something, like I finally quote unquote started to get it. It became more fun, but I definitely could see an end cap to this game where it just becomes more tedious than enjoyable.
Yeah. Or you don't want to repeat the tedium. Yeah. I feel that.
But I do think there were some aspects, and I was have you ever played Mini Motorways?
No.
You ever seen that? It's a very, very simple concept of a game. Empty map. It's going to put a house with a set of cars and then a building that they need to travel to, and they just go back and forth, right?
Okay.
So then they start adding more buildings, more houses, and your map starts getting really convoluted. Blue people need to go to the blue stores, and red, they have to go to the red stores. Basic premise. But basically, you have to manage the motorways to get the traffic to where they need to go without slowing and making traffic jams. That's the basic thing.
Yeah, this looks cute and fun.
If you're like, hey, I need to kill, like mentally, I need something to like think about while I'm like watching a TV show. Amazing game to like get in, play for 15 minutes, and you can just get out, and it's great. I recommend it. So
all the buildings pop down, and you're just in charge of placing roads.
That's it.
That's fun.
Just roads. But taking that as the concept, I think they could really add something to Rise of Industry. They started to, in this game, you could have one-way roads, so you could kind of force your traffic to go a certain way to alleviate some of those weird traffic jams. So they did start messing with like improvements to like logistical problems that were built in on top of your production trees that were really nice.
Yeah, places that they ignored. Yeah, which I guess that is an aspect, like the whole traffic management.
Yeah,
like they didn't really go as heavy as even something like Sim City did on that.
Yeah, and it's only traffic from buildings that you're controlling. So there's no commuter traffic that you have to deal with, which is kind of nice.
That'll be the next patch.
Yeah, next patch, which I mean, it came out in 2019. It's probably done. I don't think they're going to do much else with it.
If they're smart, they would have taken their money and run by now. That is not a game worth investing more time in.
Oh, I played 36 hours of Rise of Industry. Yeah. I wrote it off, and then like a week later, I think with the first time we tried scheduling stuff, I was like, oh, I'm going to refresh my memory. Let me go back and play again. Oh, that was a horrible idea. But this developer, publisher, Casado Games, did City of Gangsters, I think it is. Yeah, City of Gangsters, which I own and has been on my list to play. I think it basically takes what we just played, but instead of doing like a company, you're a mob family, and you're like running your booze or illegal goods.
Yeah, so you're running booze and contraband instead of
and recent reviews on Steam, mostly negative.
Yeah,
but it came out like almost exactly. Oh no, excuse me. Sorry, no, it came out 2 years after Rise of Industry. So maybe they're thinking about them being put up by the same people. Maybe it has similar mechanics but easier to handle.
Yeah, it sounds like it's an errand simulator, basically.
Right.
It says similar to Turmoil, which is funny. I love Turmoil. That's a good game.
Yeah, I might give that one a try, just to see if there's any similarities. Just for me though, I don't think I would.
They made a Warhammer game. They made Warhammer Mechanicus.
Who published it? Was it Casado?
Casado, yeah.
They did. I was looking at their stuff earlier, and I completely missed that.
Oh, that's cool.
Is it actually like Games Workshop allowed and all that? It's actually Warhammer?
Gotta be. I mean, it's their logo. It's gotta be.
Because I know they're very particular. So
yeah, you don't. How long's it been out? 2018. Yeah, there's no way it's not. It wouldn't be around that long.
All right. So so I think we're probably winding down our discussion on Rise of Industry. What we've been doing recently is like, hey, what are your like final thoughts? This thing to like wrap up how you found the game, good or bad. What are your final thoughts on Rise of Industry?
I think that it is, by probably any fair consideration, a good management game. I just don't think it's for me. I think that the person who enjoys Rise of Industry is definitely a huge subset of the people that enjoy management games. But I need something personally that's a little more quirky and entertaining. Like it is just too to the point for me. That's a great game. I can see why someone would say that it's the best management game ever made, but it's not for me.
No, I think I agree. It took so long for it to click, but 25 hours before I became comfortable playing. That's a long time to spend in a game to be like, it's just not doing it for me. I get, and just keep at it. That's a tough ask. So I do think it's for some people that like the nitty gritty stuff of those production trees and like the financial side of it, like actually busting out the calculator and writing down notes for different money values and stuff like that to manage what your yields are gonna be and all that. If you like that really crunchy type of like information to go through and that mechanic, this game is for you. But my mental bandwidth is not there for that. So
yeah.
But no, it was a fun experience to play, just to see what it was like, but not something I would be going back for in any means. If they came out with a Rise of Industry 2, I'd skip that one. So
yeah, I can't say I'd play this game on purpose again. Yep.
All right. Well, Matthew, thank you for coming and talking video games with me. It was nice to have you on.
Anytime, man. Any game.
All right. We are back to the present day. So since you weren't here for the conversation, I did want to ask you, are there any games in this like tycoon, sim, worker management type games that you have played or enjoyed in your long career of games? Or is this just fully off the table?
No.
Just a flat no. Gotcha.
When I was a wee lad, I remember us playing Sim Town, I think, on like Mac back at like I'm talking they had it on the computer in middle school.
Gotcha.
No, elementary school. And our friend Mike was a big fan of it. I remember playing it with him. I remember using cheats to make the game even remotely fun. We tried playing it without the cheats, and it was much less fun. I've seen some YouTube videos of a guy. I think he did like 2 Point Hospital.
Yeah, that's a fun one.
Yeah, so I would be interested in playing these types of games as long as we don't take them the way that they're intended to be played. But I don't think I can take a game like this.
And what do you mean by that?
Like making a hospital where you have a 0% survival rate for your patient, but you still make $11 million a month?
Well... well, did you ever look at any of the stuff from 2 Point Hospital specifically?
I did see a comedic video from a
because it's like,
but I haven't seen anybody legitimately try to play it. And
no, I've played it. It's actually it's quite fun. It's everything's parody. Like you'll have patients come in that have bucket head syndrome because they have buckets stuck on their head. So you have to put them into this like crazy machine that's like a debucketizer or something. It's all shit like that.
Okay.
So it's very, very goofy. They also have one that developer came out with. I think it's called 2 Point Campus. Same idea, but you're a college offering specialized classes. and it's a hoot. It's
if it's
still
more comedic and less like a game called Rise of Industry. I don't know about that one, but but something like 2 Point Hospital, if it is as goofy as you're making it sound, then yeah, I could do that. But
it's very goofy.
It's got to be. It has to have some kind of charm to it, other than just like lay the fucking roads down and get the stacks pumping. I don't.
Yeah, and that's when you go back and listen to this episode after it comes out. The Rise of Industry was extremely crunchy. Like I talked about, there was a guide I wanted to see, like, are there any suggestions I can get on how to play things or different strategies or something? And I couldn't read most of it. It was like they were like, let's get out your pen and paper and you got to write stuff down. Let's get your calculator out and calculate your taxes on this. And it was just nuts. It was very crunchy.
And it sounds really fun by your description. I just didn't have the time to play it.
I know. So anyway, so I guess,
cutting my toenails or something. Anything.
anything.
Yeah, anything. Washing the dishwasher.
Love it. Well, I think that's going to do it for us. What we should go ahead and do is our outro housekeeping stuff. We need to talk about what our next game is. Because Matthew wouldn't know because this was done months ago. So
yeah, Matthew don't
care. So I believe our next game, that was mine, I believe. Yeah, so we're actually going to be playing Dave the Diver next. Yeah. Very excited about that. That'll come out for the next episode. And anything else you want to tell the lovely people before we sign out?
Just want to say thanks for listening. Thanks for following. Thank you for liking and subscribing. Thanks for being our friend. Thanks for being part of our family. We love you guys.
We love you guys. Oh, actually, no, I can't close it there. I actually forgot. I need to again thank Matthew for joining us for that conversation. I thanked him at time of, but it was we were again still new to having guests and things. And I wanted to plug his TikTok. He's got a woodworking channel. He does some lathe stuff and glorious beard, even more glorious than mine. Could you believe it? Buddha Fist. Yeah, it's under Buddha Fist Builds. So check him out on TikTok. He has a lot of fun stuff on there, mostly woodworking and some other things like that. But then just the random fun stuff for the internet. So definitely go check him out. For us, you can find us linktr.ee/321backlog. You find all the stuff there, and that's gonna do it. Thanks.
Sick place.